If you haven't heard, Hamas, the governing authority of Gaza, launched a surprise attack into southern Israel early Saturday morning on a major Jewish holiday. The attack was highly coordinated and involved militants breaching the border from the land, sea, and air, and barrages of rockets that overwhelmed air defense systems. Overall, at the very least, 250 Israelis have been killed and close to 2,000 wounded, with many being unarmed civilians. Also, an unknown number of civilians and soldiers have been taken hostage. Often I hear comparisons of Palestinians and Ukrainians, how they are both fighting for freedom. But when do you see Ukrainian soldiers driving around gunning down civilians and taking civilians as hostages? You don't. It's true both Ukraine and Israel have killed civilians during their combat operations, but intent is a major consideration when assessing the morality of an action. Israel has the military capabilities to destroy Gaza in as little as 30 minutes, maybe less, but they don't. Hamas's intent yesterday was to inflict maximum casualties on civilians with the crude weapons they had. But what would they do with more advanced weapons? Hamas is clearly well organized to pull off an attack like this. But is their goal really freedom? And if it is freedom, what would it look like? A good way to answer this question is to look how they currently govern. When you compare freedom in Gaza to Israel on freedom indices, you see Gaza scores 11 out of 100. And if you read through the complete breakdown, it focuses on Hamas's style of government when scoring the country. Essentially, it is a one-party state with minimal protections for religious minorities, LGBTQ people, there's no free media, there's minimal due process, and little political freedom that would allow for improvement. Not to mention they torture and execute some of their own civilians. Israel scores a 77 out of 100 for having robust civil and political freedoms, and just for the sake of a comparison, here's Ukraine's score. So when people justify Hamas's actions and they say free Palestine, the way they think of freedom is very likely not the way you think about freedom. It's a catchy slogan, but if you really look into it, the reality isn't as warm and fuzzy as it sounds. And yesterday's ruthless attack unequivocally demonstrates that reality.